Hey, here I am, STEELER Rev, with my end of season recap and assessment of the Steelers. Another disappointing season and encouraging on a lot of other notes. It's like a mixed review. But here are the things that are a certainty, that I see as a certainty. Number one, Coach Tomlin, you've got to relinquish control of the defense and hire a real defensive coordinator. We blew it when we didn't bring in Mike Vrabel when he was available. So we could have used him as a defensive coordinator. Now New England got him back, and they will be a better team. He is a great coach. It's like he was a great player, and we blew it when we let him go. And he ended up playing for New England and winning a couple of Super Bowls. That brings us to yet another thing about the Steelers. We've lost a lot of great players because of our cheapness. We'll pay only particular people a lot of money, but we don't pay the guys that are in the trenches, that do the dirty work, the role players, the guys who come through and do their job. They don't do a lot of splash plays and flair, but they're the guys that get it done. And we don't pay them. We try to lowball them. And that's cost us over and over and over again. We just keep doing it. Mike Hilton comes to mind. We just lowballed him, and he came back to haunt us several times with Cincinnati over the years. We could have had Tyler Boyd, who is an excellent possession receiver, and we ended up needing just that, as I said at the beginning of the season. I did say it. Those of you who watch my videos know this. And we let him go, trying to lowball him. And he wanted to come home and play. His family wanted him back here. I wanted him back here, and many of you did too. And we ended up crying about receivers. So we see that Khan is conning himself, believing his own hype. The cheapness. Just like we lost Calvin Beachum years ago, who played every single position on the offensive line for 2 years. Every position. And when it came time for his contract that year, he took a little injury, so they used that as an opportunity to avoid paying him instead of counting on him. Here we are, we held on to hope for Cole Holcomb. He came back the last game of the season. We let Quan Alexander go, who is a thumper. He's in Detroit now and a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And yeah, he can't play a whole season because he's undersized and gets banged. But hey, what he contributes to wins. So I'd take that. I'd take that over somebody that sits out the whole season and plays one game. We got a bad habit of underpaying contributors. We got guys that come in and do what they're supposed to do, and they contribute. Now, I'm wondering what we're going to do with Deshaun Elliott because he is an integral part of the defense. Will they let him go? Probably, because they're probably, lowballing. And he's an integral part of a defense. Minka, I love him, and he's an integral part of the defense, too. He's getting older. He's been injured a lot. He's got to figure out what his role is. We've got to figure out what his role is, because you can't be a rover like Troy anymore. It's just not working. He's got to have an assigned area to be in and to be there. That's a check on his professionalism involved with that. We need an offensive coordinator that's innovative and creative, not an old school, old guy. We need someone who is innovative and who can be can relate to the younger guys. These younger guys got to stop worrying about their brand and being superstars until they put in the work. And if they don't want to put in the work, don't play them, don't pay them, get rid of them. And make that something, the standard, so people will know that coming in. They always saying the standard is the standard. Well, here's the thing. The standard with the Steelers is winning. Set by Chuck Noll and those great teams. Winning. The standard is hard practices, details, technique. Coaches that enforce technique. And they drill it into them no matter how hard it is. And those who can't do it, let them go. Period. Mike Tomlin, you've been on the rules committee, but you're one of the ones that will not use those rules to effectively help your team. You don't challenge plays that you should challenge, and we've lost out on several times on that. You won't challenge plays. But you know the rules, that you can challenge the things you can challenge. You know the rules. So I don't know. Maybe you're believing your own hype. We're tired of the sayings. We're tired of the Tomlinisms. We want results, and we want you to actually be a coach. That's what made Cowher expendable, because he was a glorified cheerleader instead of a coach. So he was expendable. And you're falling down that same rabbit hole. We need to do something about Russell Wilson. I said it at the beginning of the year, and I ain't got nothing against Russ as a person. But Russ is too short. He's just too short. He's got to, move the pocket outside, and even still, he can't even see downfield. He can't see over the defenders. He can't see over his own offensive linemen. So that's why he said, the announcer said it during that game, he's not been good at going through his progressions because he can't see them downfield. He's running for his life because our offensive players, linemen, aren't taught technique. And he gets scrambled and he throws the ball away a lot of times when he could throw to the receivers that are on the sideline. But he panics. They tried to tell him what it's like in the head against the AFC North. They tried to tell him, but obviously he thought he had it, but he didn't. It's gladiator school, and it's a test of your mettle and your toughness. And he just didn't do it. He just didn't do it. And I said it before, he's too short. He can't see, because many times he had Austin breaking toward, and he's supposed to be a quarterback that knows how to lead guys, with the ball, there's passes. But he didn't do it. All season that he played, he didn't do it. So he had Austin breaking. He could see he's breaking, but he didn't throw it. Indecision. And, in the NFL, you got to be a split decision maker and act. You have to act. And he threw the ball away a lot of times when he could have hit receivers that, in front of the guys. And they've got to teach these guys to come back to their quarterback and give him something to throw to. And that's our receivers coach did not or could not get through to George and did not teach the others. Come back, move. Don't just stick with the guy that's on you. Move around and let that quarterback have something to throw to. And a lot of times, like we talk about we talk about Van Jefferson. He gets so little credit, but he was always open. They just didn't trust him. And that's an old Ben Roethlisberger thing. You get locked in with one or two receivers, and you don't trust the rest of your receiving core. But this is what builds a great offense, when you trust these guys, and if they fail one or two times, keep throwing to them to see what they're going to do. Because eventually they'll see that you trust them, and they'll go ahead and clamp that ball. It's going to become important to them. And he was open a lot. We could have scored maybe like 15 more touchdowns this season, at minimum, if we'd have used our full roster of receivers. Najee, let him go. We don't need a glorified guy, a glorified 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard, first down and second down runner. And that's what he's good for. Every now and then he'll break a 10 or 15 yarder. But when he gets outperformed, he's running to the media to cry and complain. So he's disruptive. He can go. See you bye. Whatever. If you want to keep him, tell him, okay, we'll give you a 1 or 2 year contract, a prove-it contract. And you prove that you can be a team player, then we'll re-sign you to a better contract. Produce. Some, oh, he's got 1,000 yards. Yeah, he's just barely over 1,000 yards. How can you not get 1,000 yards in a 16, 17 game season? If you can't do that, you ain't worth your salt. Seriously. We've got to teach blocking technique. We got hogs in that draft. We got hogs on the line, but they can't block. They can't block because they don't know blocking technique. Yeah. And we just got to let old boy go. What's his name now? On the offensive line. He just can't do it. He's a revolving door. He got to go. I don't care. I just don't care. That's something that needs to be addressed in the team, by the team and other teams, during the owners and even the players. What do they call it? The Players Association. In their negotiations, they got to do something about these referees. If a referee is standing 5-6 feet from a guy and don't see him being held, and it's a constant thing, then that referee needs to be held accountable. Period. There's no team should have to play their opponent and the referees. No team should. Period. And that's ridiculous that you would have to. But so many teams have to do that and have been put through that, having to play the referees too. I haven't done a lot of recordings. I haven't done a lot of posting because the NFL's fixed. So we know it. Everybody knows it. I'm discouraged because of that. It's the team and the game that I love so very much. But at the same time, I'm disillusioned because they favor teams. And that's not the way it's supposed to be in the NFL. Competition. Keep the competition. And the competition committee needs to work on that too. Tomlin, I wish that you would address the obvious. There's a concerted and deliberate effort to hurt and injure T.J. Watt. These guys are not just trying to block him, they're trying to hurt him. And that's got to be brought up with the Player Safety Committee, that you cannot intentionally try to hurt a player, and you should have a very steep fine with suspension to any player that is on film, seen on film, to do things that would deliberately injure a player. That needs to be addressed. Simple as that. We need to get rid of 42. He got to go. He needs to get off the field. Not even on special teams. We need to let 42 go. We keep letting him go and bringing him back. And he's a liability. He needs to go. And I mean get. Pierre, he's just not. George, you got to grow up. You got to grow up and be professional, son. You can't claim glory until you do something glorious. It's just like giving a kid a participation trophy. You should not get no praise unless you do something praiseworthy with consistency. And a real professional doesn't do all that crying and whining. We've had people in the past that learned the hard way. The more you cry about being cheated, the referees are going to make it a point to let you be fouled and not call it, just to put you in your place. That should be addressed too, but that's just the way it is right now. You got to be professional, get up and play. Play the game. We got to let Justin Fields develop. Everybody talking about these good passes, the moon ball. But I've seen some plays where Justin Fields threw some pinpoint passes to George and Calvin too. The kid is good. He needs to develop. Let him. This is a place that he can do a lot better developing him than Chicago did. So let him develop. He should be your primary quarterback. He should have been. And I'm pissed off because he was 4-2 and we replaced him with Wilson. You don't do that. Everybody knows that. It's like a no-brainer. And they replaced him because they didn't want to give up a 4th-round pick for him if he'd have took 51% of the snaps. Even after Russell proved that he couldn't see over the players on the line and he couldn't be effective as he was at first, they still kept Fields off the field so that he wouldn't take 51%. That's what's in the contract or the trade clause. If he took 51% of the snaps, then they would have to give up a 4th-rounder for him to Chicago. And now they only got to give up 6. So you tanked the season, basically, for all intents and purposes, over a 4th-round pick that you didn't want to give up. How many 4th-round picks have we had over the past 10, 15 years that stayed with the team more than their rookie contract? Let's think about that. Let's look into that. Take a look at it, Omar. So we got that. Historically, even the Steelers, it's the undrafteds in the 7th and 5th round picks who ended up being the ones that shined the brightest. Look into that too. Fields should have been on that field. He should have been on that field. And Russell, I like you. You're great and all that, but at this point in your career, you need to be Fields' backup. And I don't know how many Steeler faithful will still be faithful because most of the Steeler fans are fair weather fans and fake fans and uninformed fans, and all they care about is winning. I care about the Steelers. I care about their development. I care about the tradition. I care about their safety. I care about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I care about football. I love football. And this is what I'm saying is football. This is not just favoring the Steelers, but any team. These are things that if you're doing the same things, you need to correct it too. We need an offensive coordinator that's innovative. We need assistant coaches that teach technique. And I've been saying that for 9 years, 10. We need technique teachers. And we got young guys that are willing to learn right now. You better take advantage of it while the iron is hot. Because then they'll become jaded, and then they'll be unteachable. And they'll already have bad habits locked in. We better bring Daniels back. because he was our best lineman. He got injured. Stop seeing these guys get injured. And then we go out and they'll sign somebody that been injured that can't perform. But we got guys that show that they have performed for us, and they get injured. We let them go because we don't want to pay their contract because they got to get a raise. You got to spend money to get, for them to be money. Simple as that. We need to keep Williams. We need to keep Jefferson. And we need to get a quality receiver to go along with that back. We need to keep Calvin Austin. We'll see what this Wilson kid does next year when he plays. But we still need to get a quality receiver. And we need a quarterback that can see over the line. Over the linemen. And we have to help Justin work on his progressions and decision making. Simple as that. And Russell sit on that bench and play and give him a decent contract. But if he can't understand where he is in his career, then let him go. And get another quarterback that does understand. Know your role. Know your role. And he's been around long enough to know that. So we can't play to people's ego. We made that mistake with Ben. And it cost us 8 straight years of mediocrity. And his contract kept us from getting good quality free agents. So there we are. I'm very disappointed. Our defense just got tired. They got tired. And then the insertion of Cam Sutton came, and that changed things because he saw things in the old way it was before he left. And this is a new day. So there was a lot of arguing back there. And you got to have one guy, maybe 2 on defense, that calls the shots. And if you don't listen to them and don't do what they say, if you get an attitude during the game, you watch everybody on film. If you get an attitude when they tell you what you need to do, yank them off the field. That'll let everybody know you ain't playing. It's time for a coach to be a coach. While you still got a contract. Be a coach. Not their buddy. Not a sympathizer, enabler, or empathizer. A coach. And sometimes a coach is a kiss my ass and do what I say type of guy. That's all I'm going to say right now. Rev out.